Hi everyone, it's Jane Mann with Skin by Jane Mann, and I've had lots of requests to work up a routine that would release some of the frontalis tension lines in the forehead. So if you've taken my classes before, you know I'm a big um, believer in releasing the neck for mid-face because the platysma that starts about mid-décolleté goes all the way up right underneath the cheekbone. So anytime I want to do a mid-face lift, I'll always release the neck first and then release the mid-face. So the frontalis, how that works is you have these bands of muscles that go back and they turn into kind of a denser muscle or a tendon called an aponeurosis, and then it reconnects with the belly of the frontalis in the back. And if we could take a band right above our eyebrow, taking it all the way back, that's your belly of the frontalis, and that's right above the occipital bone, and then you have the cervical vertebrae which attach to the traps. So I like to start out, and you can do this all with just the lift, or you can start with the Anma. And the reason I start with the Anma is sometimes the lift is difficult to maintain the conduction in the hair, and if it's wet, sometimes the hair gets tangled in. So just for the sake of time, I love to warm up with the Anma on that cervical vertebrae and that trap area. I'm going to just kind of start to warm up. And the level of pressure I'm using would be about a 2. And I define a 2 by just moving that tissue along the muscle. So I'm right in that occipital area, and that's where the head kind of leans back into the shampoo bowl. I'm just going to warm up, bringing some blood flow into that area. And as I do, I'm going up now right to the belly of the frontalis. So now I'm beginning to stimulate and really initiate some blood flow in that dehydrated fascia. You can always tell the dehydrated fascia because the scalp gets so like rigid. The hair doesn't even move along the scalp. So when you can just go in with the Anma and break that up, we're just really feeding all of the hair follicles. And you could even combine this with a hair thickening serum such as Neogenesis. So we're going in and we're just really warming up that whole scalp area. And now I'm on the top, and this is part of the frontalis, but it's actually a denser like tendon, and it's called an aponeurosis. And I'm going in, and it equally feels just as releasing as we do this. Then I'm going to go to the side and really warm up those temples, because I see a lot of times heavy forehead lines with a strong bite or clenching teeth. So a lot of times some of the muscles in play in the scalp are the temporalis muscles. So we want to just kind of go in and bring in the blood flow and release using your Anma. When it's time to go in for the lift, I came up with just 2 movements that you're going to do repetitiously. So one of my favorite products, kind of like the product of my sink in my bathroom, is this high molecular weight hyaluronic acid. It's non-inflammatory. It does not create inflammation in the tissues, but boy, does it increase the flow of current because I'm just saturating hydration in that tissue. So I'm going to rub that in, and then I'm going to use the Neogenesis Glide Gel. And I use the Neogenesis Glide Gel because whatever I layer underneath the gel, I know it's not being buffered or tampered with, because this is just an oncology safe gel that is so clean it doesn't tamper with any of the products you prepped your skin with. I'm going to use the Lift by Jane Mann microcurrent unit, and I'm going to be using it on the tissue, kind of the connective tissue program, and that's program 1. And I'm going to place it on a setting that I just barely feel the current, because I know the current is working. So in this case, this is about a 30 But I want you to take it, maybe placing the probe on your skin. If you're using the myotone or the myolift, any of those, sometimes you need to go a little bit higher. That unit's very sensitive to conductivity, but I know that it's conducting because we've done lots of different trials with it. So I'm going to go in and I'm just going to brush up and I'm lifting the unit slightly and I'm coming down. So I'm not rubbing up and down. Although you can do that you can do that, but what I'm doing more is I'm really placing the pressure moving up towards my scalp. So I'm moving all the way up. And I like to do it about 5 times in each location. And I'm really just kind of going all around the crown of the head, going out, lifting all the way, going out to that temple area and lifting, going all the way. And you can just kind of see I'm just creating movement. As when we develop the heavy forehead lines, we have this natural layer of collagen called the Langer lines, and it's a lot of times where plastic surgeons or anybody like working on scar revision, they'll try to cut within those Langer lines. But as the collagen in our face starts to thin, it kind of falls into that line. So what I'm doing is I'm really just trying to plump that skin and lift it from falling in that line. So I'm just kind of going up all the way across. You could literally do that. If you're super obsessive, do it 100 times, whatever works for you. Now I'm going to cross hatch it. And I'm going to take the bottom and the mid or the fourth ball, and I'm right on that corrugator. And I'm really just kind of stretching it this way. And I go 5, and now I'm going to lift it up, lifting, kind of reversing the action of the vicularis oculi. So when the eye closes, you can see it cinches like a plastic or a drawstring sack. So I'm kind of going against that, and I'm just lifting up, and then I'm lifting and moving up. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lift. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to do about 5 sets of that, 5 sets of 5. So that would be, this is the third, and lifting up, and fourth. And the pressure I'm using is definitely a 2. And then one more time, and lift. And now I'm just going to lift all the way up, kind of going all the way up, and then turning the probe around. And the reason I'm doing it the 2 different ways is because the cross-hatching of the current. So here I have the positive and negative going vertically. Here I have the positive and negative going horizontally. So let's go ahead and do this on the other side. So remember, we started out just kind of warming up that tissue. You can just kind of jiggle that. When you start to feel like your gel's getting a little dry, I like to just push it in some water. And now I'm going to go up, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lift. 2, 3, 4, 5, and lift. 2. So the balls are hitting into this corrugator area, and got gel in my hair, and moving. So I'm really kind of tracing that little wrinkle that develops sometimes when you get Botox. Just kind of going in and ironing that out and going up. So the next question I get is, what do we do about these heavy 11 lines? And I first like to just take the lift and just kind of go in and rubbing that area, just little tiny circles, just massaging all of that area. We're just getting the current into those two little points right at the edge of the eyebrow. And now we're just going to take one side and we're going to hold and we're going to push up. We're just lifting up on that area. So we're just going to now hold. So I've got to kind of pivot in the arch of my brow, and now I'm just kind of ironing out the little 11. So I'm just working into creating a lot of blood flow in that area. We want to release all that tension in there, because a lot of times when you release that tension and that fascia, we also release the fibroblasts that helps build collagen and elastin. So we're going in, and you can already see just that subtle difference in that eye. Now I'm going to come over and I'm just going to I've got one end at the arch and I'm lifting with the other. And you can feel the knots, especially if you're you have a lot of expression in that area. This is going to be a tender move. So really go at the pressure that you can handle. But the more often you do it, the more that you'll begin to work out all the knots in that area. So the different movements that you have is the warm-up, going back and forth, and then kind of the focusing, lifting and going up, and we're kind of trapping the corrugator all the way over to the procerus, and then we're focusing one of the probes and lifting the corner of the eye. So there are your 4 movements for a forehead lift, and I hope you try it. Get back to me. Let me know your comments, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. I always learn from everything that you have to say. If you have anything else you'd like me to address, please email me at byjanemann@gmail.com. And until I have another video, happy lifting.